All right, I want to address a couple of topics that continue to come up over and over and over again in the Watch Liar community, and they involve the creation of this so-called Antichrist beast system of one world economy, the whole entire world connected digitally through sophisticated technology, one world currency, one world government, all these things that these guys have continued to say over and over again in their narrative about what Revelation is all about. They believe Revelation is all about a satanic embodied person called the Antichrist, who runs a dystopian world for 7 years, that makes 1984 George Orwell's world look like a walk in the park. That makes the Holocaust look like nothing in comparison. This is the narrative they tell over and over again. And if you actually go and read Revelation from beginning to end, it'll take you maybe a couple of hours at the most. And then also read Revelation 13, where they're usually focused because these guys are obsessed with the Antichrist. You'll notice a few things. First of all, you will notice the word Antichrist doesn't even appear in the entire book. So never are we introduced to an entity called the Antichrist or the Antichrist or a person named the Antichrist. John's the person who wrote the book of Revelation. He coined the term Antichrist in his letters, his epistles, 1st and 2nd and 3rd John. And he didn't even mention that word anywhere in Revelation. And in fact, in his epistles, he says, as he's writing to his Jewish children, he says, now we know it is the end times because now there are many antichrists, and this is 2,000 years ago. So clearly, this Antichrist is completely different than what these people think it is. And John does define it, and you can go read 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John in probably about 20 minutes, and you'll see what it is. But their obsession with the Antichrist is really 90% of their content, which of course they all claim, well, we're all looking for Jesus Christ. We're not looking for Antichrist. But meanwhile, 90% of their content has to do with the end of the world system and the new world system. And of course, lately they've been obsessed with digital currencies and the mark of the beast and everything related to that. So I'm going to play a couple of clips by Chad here just to set the stage. He's all excited today about a Senate bill that introduces a digital ID, a national digital ID for every American.
Folks, we continue to race toward the coming empire and economy of the future Antichrist. We know, according to Scripture, specifically Revelation chapter 13, that there is coming a time where there will be a system in place that will be able to track and monitor every single human on earth. It will be able to control all buying and selling.
You can't make this stuff up. I had to share this one with you guys today. Did you guys hear about this? Many of you had sent me this, and I was researching it, and I found many different sources reporting on it. So I'm going to share it with you guys today in case you have not heard it. A couple days ago, someone sent me this from Don't Speak News, an article titled, "Senators Introduce Bill to Create Digital Identity for All Americans."
Okay, so notice he says, Revelation 13 talks about a global system where every economic activity is monitored and tracked, and all buying and selling are controlled. He says that's in Revelation 13, and then he points to this Senate bill as a potential step towards that. And we're racing towards that, he says. Now, he's not alone in this. Chad is not the only person spewing this kind of garbage every day, but and I'm going to prove it's garbage in two different ways. But he is definitely someone who really is obsessed about it right now.
We continue to see the stage getting set up for the coming empire and economy of the future Antichrist. And we know, according to Scripture again, that there has to be a system in place that will be able to monitor and track every single human on earth, and it will be able to control all buying and selling. So this is the direction, not just in the United States, but the entire world. This is the direction things are going. And if we know the rapture of the Church of Jesus Christ needs to occur before the Antichrist is revealed and before the tribulation period begins and the empire and the economy of the future Antichrist is officially rolled out, how close are we to the rapture? I would say a lot closer than people realize. And all
All right, so the first thing I want to point out is that Revelation 13 does not actually say that a system will be in place in order to monitor and track all buying and selling. All right, so first of all, Revelation 13:11 says, I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. So I mean, some of these guys will speak of the Antichrist and the false prophet. And so they know that there are two entities. Both of these entities in Revelation 13 are called beasts. One is clearly an empire. That's the one whose head, deadly wound is healed of 7 heads. So it can't be a person. It has to be an entity of some kind. The other is this one, who is commonly called the false prophet. He, that is the false prophet, exercises all the power of the first beast before him and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. He does these great wonders, blah, blah, blah. So this is the false prophet, okay? And he gives power, he has power to give life unto the image of the beast, and that here we have then what Chad is referring to. Now again, this is the false prophet, and I bet you anything that Chad doesn't even really understand that the same person he calls the false prophet, the Pope, is the one who's going to cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or their forehead that no one would buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. You have to have all these 3 things in order to buy and sell. That's the false prophet. That's who many of these guys think the Pope is. How many of these guys have ever said the Pope is going to be the one rolling this out? You ever heard anybody say that? Nah. They just throw it into Antichrist. It's the Antichrist. It's a beast system. So my first point here is there's 2 verses about the mark of the beast here, about buying and selling, and that's all it says. It says they are restricted from buying or selling without this mark. That's all it says. It does not say every purchase and every transaction must be monitored and tracked globally in order for this system to work. And we saw this kind of in 2020 and 2021. You could not go into a store and purchase something in the store without the very, very low-tech device on your face called a mask. They wouldn't let you in the store unless you were wearing the mask. Simple. That's it. You can't buy or sell here. Sorry, stay out. You don't have a mask on. The end. Very low-tech, doesn't require anything. All these guys are doing is just making up things and adding them to the story, and it's completely extra-biblical. Nothing in the Bible says all of these transactions will be tracked. I'd like to also point out that, again, continuing on with the vein that Revelation really isn't about this Antichrist guy that runs the world through the power of Satan for 7 years. Revelation is about Jesus Christ. Revelation is the revelation of Jesus Christ as king, as judge, and as the only one who is worthy to make war and judge. That's what Revelation is about. This beast guy, or these 2 beasts, get very little screen time. Very few verses in Revelation are actually about them. And that might surprise some people. Some people probably think Revelation is all about, it's like George Orwell, in 1984, times a billion. But it really isn't. By chapter 16, we have the 5th angel pouring out. So this is an angel of God, of the Lord, under the direction of Jesus Christ. He pours out his bowl upon the seat of the beast. And his kingdom is filled with darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain. This is the state of things in the beast's kingdom 3 chapters after he comes on the scene. Does this sound like he's running the world to you? The entire kingdom is filled with darkness. Can you operate in darkness? Go read Exodus. That's where this comes from. This is a direct reference back to the 10 plagues of Egypt. What happened in Egypt when the kingdom of Egypt was filled with darkness? They couldn't do anything. Yet we're all supposed to believe this Antichrist guy is going to run the world with an iron fist for all this time. The second point I want to make in all of this, so first of all, we see in Revelation itself, there really is no references whatsoever to a system of the beast that is run through interconnected people throughout the world where every single transaction is monitored and tracked. We don't see that. We just see Can't buy or sell without this. That's it. It can be very low tech, in fact. So let me talk the second point in terms of logic and actual data and facts. So what Chad just said was we're racing towards it, and all the watch liars are just foaming at the mouth and obsessed with digital currencies and how close we must be, because after all, if we're this close to a worldwide economy where every transaction is tracked and monitored, how much closer is the rapture? Well, not close at all. Okay, here's why. More than a billion people in the world lack access to electricity right now today. More than 600 million are in sub-Saharan Africa. More than 300 million are in India. So we have like 1.3 out of 8 billion people don't even have electricity, guys. How are they supposed to get on to this beast system in the next 5 minutes so that we can be raptured first? And how are they going to operate this system anyway in a kingdom filled with darkness? Just another question. Haiti, 71% of the country lacks electricity. That's 7.5 million people out of 10.5 million. Yemen, it's a little more than half. That makes 13 or 14 million of their 25 million people don't have electricity. What are you supposed to do with all these people? Are they all just, God doesn't care about those people. He didn't include them when he said all, small and great, rich and poor. He didn't mean those people. They don't really count. Or I guess Satan doesn't really care what happens with those transactions, right? Again, so let's just be logical. Either we are really on the cusp of this so-called rapture, and then this so-called beast Antichrist guy is going to roll out this worldwide thing really, really fast, which would take a supernatural act to get it done, or we're nowhere close. So if you guys are going to come forward now and claim to me that, yes, we are close based on what we see in the news, accept this stuff. So what we see in the news means we're close. We are definitely close. 2023 is the year. But this stuff doesn't count. This data is irrelevant because somehow, supernaturally, this Antichrist guy is going to overcome all these obstacles right here. Just these on the screen. And roll this thing out really super fast. You tell me how close you really think we are. Here's a couple more slides I found over the years that make me chuckle too, because I will hear this all the time. Oh yeah, man, the system is in place today. It's ready to just flip the switch. After we're raptured, all the Antichrist has to do is flip the switch and it's ready to go. So let's just take a look at a few pictures here. South Sudan, this particular spot in the world, almost 95% of the population has no electricity. Yeah, this business here, easily on-ramped to the beast system that Chad is describing. Yeah, I mean, because after all, the Senate is creating a bill where we're all going to have a digital ID. I mean, golly gee, we must be close. How about this this Haiti picture? This is everyday life in Haiti. You think they're close? You think the beast is going to roll out his system all through this marketplace right here? How about this guy, this poor little guy? I had to chuckle at it. It says fresh chicken for sale along the side of the road in Cancun. The part of Cancun that rich, white, entitled Americans like myself, we never see. This is just 20 miles probably from the resort area. Look at this guy. Little table, little umbrella, 1 or 2 people waiting on the side of the road selling fresh chicken. You think he's ready to ramp onto the Mark of the Beast system and he's going to have to, otherwise he's out of business? This guy's not going to find some other way to do things. Nope, here we go. Here's your electronic, scanning device. And here's your high-speed internet connection connected to the massive, ridiculously crazy complex database and software that runs this whole thing, even though the sun has gone dark. Then you have Russia, just another example of a little woodcutter guy who's in business in Russia. I'd also like to just point out, next time you hear a hobbyist whine about the state of things in America, start just surfing Google Maps someday and zooming in at street level as much as you can in some of these cities. Look at the way these people live their everyday lives. They got carts and bikes, for God's sake. If we lived like this, we would be... I don't even want to go there. I just don't even want to go there. Here's another one. This is a slum in, I forget where this is, Africa somewhere. But I mean, you know, this is tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people live just like this. Next time you whine about America, little hobbyist, get your butt over to Google Maps, take a look. And then a couple more like quick things, like here's another marketplace. Yeah. You really think the beast system is going to integrate itself with all of these little storefronts inside of these marketplaces, and all these people are going to be right on board with it? They have no choice. Why? If they barter for food, if they use some kind of underground currency for 3.5 years, you know, they're going to get their head chopped off. So they're so scared. I mean, how big is the army of this beast? Is there one army guy for each individual on Earth so they can monitor them to make sure they don't go against... Anyway, it's utterly ridiculous, and it's not even scriptural. And even if it was, guys, it's nowhere close.